Have you heard about that other environmental crisis? Honeybees are dying.
Something is killing America's bee population.
For years, the media have talked about
Bee-pocalypse.
Bees dying off, disappearing.
all the news shows covered the disaster.
This might be one of the most interesting, disturbing, and puzzling stories to come along in a long time.
Famous actors are sold to the Bee-pocalypse.
30% of the honeybees disappearing.
That could have a devastating impact on agriculture.
But wait, grocery stores still offer lots of food. Baseball games are stopped until a beekeeper removes bees. Even here in Manhattan, a beekeeper sells millions of bees. Yet the media say
Bees are dying in droves.
Now, about 20 years ago, some American bees did die.
It's called colony collapse disorder.
Beekeepers would come back to their hives and they'd be gone. All the bees would be gone.
For several years, beekeepers lost lots of bees.
So this is what you call a dead hive?
Yep, empty box, no bees.
But beekeepers adjusted. They rebuilt the lost colonies by splitting hives.
Dividing colonies to make up new hives.
No one knows what caused colony collapse disorder, and after a few years, it diminished. Since then, there are 31% more bees in America. They could have just Googled bee population and they would have seen them going up.
Absolutely. It's farcical.
Science writer John Entine runs the Genetic Literacy Project. It challenges scientific misinformation in the media.
We're not in any way facing an apocalypse involving bees. Things have never been better in terms of the numbers of bees globally.
The numbers go up, but their dying stories continued.
Bees are disappearing worldwide.
All you have to do is read the basic science on these issues, whether it's on the genetic literacy.
Nobody reads that.
They don't read that.
Look, more people are going to watch the video that says, you might starve.
Do you like to eat? The disappearance of honeybees could have a drastic effect on our nation's food supply,
which could lead to millions of people starving in the following years.
The media are so irresponsible. Time predicted a world without bees, even though this beekeeper who gave the magazine this bee for their photo shoot would have told them.
The bees will outlast you. They've been around since the Cretaceous period.
I don't remember seeing Time apologize for its cover.
Time has not apologized or even written a new article that puts this in science perspective. The New York Times, about 5 years later, had a cover story about the insect Armageddon, predicting catastrophe. We're losing insects around the world. We're not losing insects around the world.
Did the Times ever apologize for its magazine cover?
No, they skipped on to another crisis.
There's always a scare.
Catastrophe, exaggeration, that's what plays. That's what gets the clicks.
And if you read their entire stories,
they don't really have a lot of science. They don't have key scientists, entomologists, giving their opinions on this. What they have are the Environmental Working Group or Pesticide Action Network framing these issues.
They're disappearing. That's why Greenpeace set itself a challenge to put a stop to the deaths of thousands of bees.
Activists make money by scaring people about loss of species.
If we don't act now, every wild polar bear could be gone forever.
Hysteria generates donations, and the oxygen for these organizations is money donated by people who think they're doing good.
Why is it so important to donate to this fundraiser for Greenpeace? Because it's too hot, because it's too cold, because it rains, because it doesn't.
Many of these environmental groups, their policies harm people in the United States and globally.
How? Well, one way is that the groups demand countries ban fertilizers and new pesticides. But the newest chemicals are often the best ones.
Today's pesticides are safer than ever.
The activists blame pesticides for that colony collapse disorder, even though other countries using the same pesticides had no colony collapse. But the facts don't matter. The moronic protests continued.
The government isn't doing enough to save the bee on all causes of bee decline, but particularly pesticides.
Even though bee numbers are at a record high, gullible politicians bought the scare, and some places banned the newest pesticides.
The European Union voted to suspend the use of neonicotinoids because of possible links to bee collapse.
That meant farmers often used older, more dangerous chemicals that do kill bees. The natural food people say, organic, you just don't have to have the chemicals. Buy organic and you don't get them.
They use chemicals extensively.
Wait, Organic farmers use chemicals? Yes.
It's not like organic farmers can sprinkle organic fairy dust to get rid of insects and weeds.
Instead, they use natural chemicals.
An example is copper sulfate. It's one of the most toxic chemicals in the world. Organic chemicals, because they're not designed to be targeted, in many cases are far worse.
Sri Lanka's president listened to the activists and banned chemical pesticides and fertilizers. Suddenly, the same farms produced much less food.
They were forced to go organic overnight, and their production has plummeted.
Food prices rose 80%. People invaded the presidential mansion. The president fled the country, and the new government ended the crisis only by making chemical fertilizer legal again.
This attack on industrial chemicals is really a way for the environmental industry, and that's what it is, to go after what they call big ag, big corporations. It's really an anti-capitalist movement.
Hey, no GMOs.
The anti-capitalists oppose GMOs, genetically modified organisms. Environmental activists persuaded most European countries to basically ban growing GMO crops. But genetic modification allows farmers to grow more food on less land. It creates plants more resistant to disease and insects, allowing farmers to use fewer pesticides. GMOs benefit everyone, especially poor people. Scientists in Bangladesh invented a better GMO eggplant.
That's decreased the use of chemicals by 85%, allowing the women and children who are doing most of the farming to live a much more viable life. So we really have to be smart about these things. We're not going to
We're not being smart, though.
No, we're following an outdated 40-year-old environmental script that just doesn't work in this technologically innovative world. They are outdated, and they are hurting the very people, especially the developing world, that they claim to want to help.
The anti-capitalists do hurt people, often badly. I covered that Sri Lanka chemical ban where people went without food. I've also reported on the idiocy of some of the anti-GMO claims. To watch those videos, click there.